We're going to begin a new organ system. We're going to talk about the endocrine system. And you may wonder why this is so out of order from the way your textbook is organized. And the reason that I have it here is because, from my point of view, it feels like this is the organ system that brings together concepts of protein structure and homeostasis and hydrophilic and active transport, passive transport, all kinds of things in one organ system. Right? So what is the organ system? The endocrine system is one of our two main communication systems. When we talk about homeostasis of the human body or how the human body gets control, we're talking about two different communication systems that do the controlling. And they are the nervous system and the endocrine system. Let's compare them. In terms of how quickly these two communication systems respond, the nervous system is the winner. The nervous system is much faster. It can respond in as quickly as 1 millisecond. That is, there are 1,000 milliseconds in a second. So that's how quickly the nervous system can send out a response. In comparison, the endocrine system is relatively slow. It'll take seconds at the minimum, sometimes as long as days, for it to just send out a message, right? Then we've got the persistence of the response. Once a message gets sent out, how long does that message stay there? Now, that message stays there only a millisecond or a few tenths of milliseconds if it's the nervous system. The nervous system sends out its signal like a little tiny, you will hear me refer to it as like a beep. It's like a little beep, okay? That's what the nervous system can do. But just like a beep is just beep, okay? As soon as it starts, it's kind of done. That's the way the nervous system acts. In comparison, the endocrine system, once it sends out a message, that message can be roaming around in your body technically for more than a week. Now, the area of the effect. The nervous system is very specific. Okay, you've got nerves that when they send out their command to a muscle to contract, very few of those nerves talk to an individual muscle, but some will talk to just a few muscle cells, and generally, any individual nerve will only give a command to one small part of one muscle. So that's very, very targeted. Now, in comparison, when the endocrine system sends out its messages, those messages go throughout the body. So if you are a calf muscle, you have literally no idea if a command has been sent to the biceps. But with the endocrine system, everyone at least is receiving the message. Okay, only kind of. Now, whenever I look at this sort of comparison of the nervous system and the endocrine system, I usually think, gosh, the nervous system's new, modern, up to date, yowie. Like the endocrine system must be old, passe, and just on its way to evolving out. But that's not true. Okay? These are just two different ways of communicating. And odds are good that you also use two different ways of communicating. You probably have one way of communicating that is very fast and stops quickly and is very targeted. And that would be if you made a phone call. If you, before I get there, but you also have a way that's relatively slow, that hangs around for weeks, and that is a message that's kind of sent out to the world. And that's probably Instagram or Facebook or something like that. All right. So if you got a new puppy, right, you probably would not call everyone you know and tell them about your new puppy and explain to them your new puppy, right? You would just get a video of you with your new puppy, a bunch of videos of you and photos of you with your new puppy, and you would put them on Instagram or Facebook. And then everyone that is your friend would know you've got a new puppy and how cute he is and the adorable little thing he does right before he barks and, what happened when he saw the butterfly, okay? All of your friends would know that. As a matter of fact, there are probably people that would see that you've got a new puppy that you don't even know who they are. They just started following you on Instagram, okay? That's like the endocrine system. The endocrine system is just sending messages out there. Lots of people get those messages. Those messages, by the way, that video of your puppy is going to still be up there when your puppy's 5 years old, right? And that's okay. That's not a failure of Facebook or Instagram. That's one of the features of Facebook or Instagram. On the other hand, if your car got broke down on the 605 freeway at 2 in the morning, you are not posting that on Instagram or Facebook, but who knows what weirdos are going to show up, right? Besides, you ain't got time for someone to just sort of log on and notice that you're stuck. You would pick up your phone. You probably know these can make calls. You would pick up your phone and you would call individual friends and family members until you reach someone. And then once you reach someone, you would want that message not to be there anymore, right? So that's like the nervous system. Making a call, you can do it right away. You know if someone's there or not, right? And then you can just call someone else. When you hang up the phone, all of that information you conveyed, it's gone. So if you were calling a friend to gossip about the stupid thing another friend said, if you do it on the phone, as soon as you hang up, it's gone, right? Don't do that on email or text. So that's the persistence of response. And the area of the effect, the phone, very targeted, but these are just two different ways of communicating. We're going to be talking about what is the physiology analogy for Instagram or Facebook. When messages get sent out, they will hang out there in the universe for a long period of time, and they are not specifically targeted except for a little bit. Okay. All right. So what is the endocrine system itself? Aside from being a communication system, it is all of the endocrine glands in the human body, and endocrine glands are organs that specifically make hormones, okay? So the endocrine system is all of those endocrine glands plus other cells in the body that also make hormones. Now, this chapter in your textbook, and generally when we're talking about the endocrine system, we think about all the endocrine glands. We think about the hormones that they make. But the truth is, the more we look at the human body, the more we recognize that almost all the tissues of the human body are busy making molecules that should be considered hormones, in that they allow that set of cells to communicate with the rest of the human body. For example, the fat that is on your body and in your body, that's not an endocrine gland, but fat does make a hormone. Your duodenum, that's the first part of the small intestine. That's not an endocrine gland. That's part of your digestive system, but it does make hormones, all right? So we'll mostly be focusing on endocrine glands and the hormones that they make. What are hormones? Hormonal messengers. When cells communicate with other cells, they've got two ways of doing it. The nervous system is very specific. It uses this whole electrical stuff. But even then, cells usually make a molecule, could be a protein, could be a lipid, and then they release that molecule. And then there needs to be a cell that has got like a way to catch that molecule. Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit more in a second. Now let's talk about target cells. Now, just a little bit ago, I told you that the endocrine system sends out messages, these chemical messengers that are called hormones, right? And that those messages go to pretty much every cell in the human body, right? Except not every cell in the human body actually can hear the message. Let's go back to the puppy analogy, okay? Let's imagine that you have posted on Instagram the cute video of your puppy, okay? And all of your friends love it, and your cousins love it, and your mom and dad are like, I didn't know you got a dog, and everyone loves it. And then your Auntie Elva, I used to have an Auntie Elva, your Auntie Elva calls you and is really mad because she didn't get the picture of your puppy. And she doesn't understand why everyone else got to see the picture of your puppy and the video of your puppy, and she didn't get to see it, right? And you would say to her, Auntie Elva, you're not on Instagram. You don't follow me on Instagram. And she'd be like, well, that's no excuse. And you'd be like, oh, you just don't understand. Okay? Well, in that analogy, your mom, your dad, your friends, your cousins, they are all target cells for the hormone that you sent out, meaning you've sent out a message and they are able to receive that message. They follow you on Instagram. Okay. But your Auntie Elva, since she doesn't follow you on Instagram, she's not a target cell for that particular chemical message, that hormone. Right? So let's look at this image. This is from your textbook, I think. Here is going to be a capillary bed. Capillary beds are like lace-like networks of the tiniest of the blood vessels called capillaries. And here are cells that are busy making hormones, and they exocytose that. They just spit it out of the cell, and then it diffuses into the capillary, and then it gets caught up by another blood vessel, could be an arterial, could be a vein, and it could go all the way around the body, but it definitely goes to a second capillary bed. And these cells, if this cell follows that cell on Instagram, then this cell will be able to receive that message. Okay. Now, we're going to talk about it some more. Before we do, though, let's look at the different categories. There we go. Okay. The different categories of hormones. And luckily for you, there are just two categories of hormones. And those two categories of hormones, they sometimes have different names. So when you go from this class in physiology to a nursing program, the names of the two classes might be different names. Your textbook uses the terms water soluble and lipid soluble. Other textbooks might use hydrophobic and hydrophilic. Other textbooks will use the term steroidal or steroid-like and non-steroidal. So the names of the categories might be different, but the hormones that are in the categories are always the same. So let's start off by looking at the lipid-soluble hormones. Lipid-soluble hormones, you need to know this for the exam. Lipid-soluble hormones either are steroid hormones or, write this down, the other hydrophobic, which means lipid-soluble hormone of the human body, is thyroid hormone. Now, luckily for us, they end in OID, so they're all oids. So you can remember steroid hormones and thyroid hormone go in the same category. Then you're going to have to remember that these are fat soluble, lipid soluble. And if they're lipid soluble, they don't dissolve in water, right? Oil and water don't mix, okay? And you should know that they are often steroid hormones, okay? I've gotten to my time limit, so we're going to pick up here at the beginning of the next video.